If you're new with us, we want you to feel right at home. It is our goal to continue making a positive impact on you and your family. And here are some great ways to get involved.
Each Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30 is Fam Night here at the church. Adult Bible study, youth group, and children's activities make it a great time for all ages. We follow the school calendar and we look forward to seeing you there. A great way to get involved and discover your gifts and passions is to attend our pastor's breakfast. We believe the best way to reach families for Christ is together. All you have to do is see someone at the Connect Center and we'll take it from there. Winter Jam is Friday, March 20th in Greenville. This is going to be an incredible evening with live concerts by top artists in Christian music, plus worship and ministry to encourage the believer and to share the good news with those who have yet to trust Christ. Everyone is welcome, so see Pastor Nate for more details.
So there you have it. Be sure to check out Lifespring03012020A and our Facebook page for more events as well. To help us connect, please fill out one of these white Connect cards and take it to the Connect Center just outside that door. You will receive a free gift, a personal contact from Pastor Nate himself, and some of our team leaders will be reaching out to you as well. At this time, please stand and we'll begin our worship.
Good morning. If you guys will stand, we're going to worship these first two songs. The second one's going to be a new one, but we would love for you to clap and get engaged and sing along if you can.
greet one another, I want to share the main idea. Words are hard. Main idea of today's service with you guys, so you can be thinking about that and preparing your heart for the message. So today's big idea, as we start our new series, says our mission to reflect Jesus and make disciples is written into our DNA. One more time, our mission to reflect Jesus and make disciples is written into our DNA. So take a moment and think about that as you greet those around you. Shake a hand, hug a neck.
I know, man.
If you want to change the volume of the speakers, it's this so like if it gets too awkward and it's too soft.
You haven't peeked at the box yet, right?
I have not, man. I just got last night.
This time we're going to go ahead and dismiss our preschoolers. If you are in the preschool class, you can follow the lyrics. And you guys can go ahead and make your way back to your seats as we prepare for the offering. If you look on the screen above you, they'll be over there.
So, what's the deal with this whole tithing thing? Am I simply adding to the youth pastor's gene collection? If God gives to me, why would I give it back? God doesn't want our money. He wants us. It shows God that we recognize that everything we have is ours. Oh, not a bad deal. Second, it requires that we remain dependent on God's grace to supply our every need. Even the birds don't worry about what they're going to eat. And how much more does God care for us than a bird? Third, we get to support God's work throughout the world. This church you're sitting in right now uses your tithes to support missionaries, feed the poor, and reach out to the community for Christ. It's a tiny price for such a huge impact. So you might be thinking, why can't I just let the rich be generous? My tithe isn't worth much at all. Well, actually, if everyone in this room, everyone sitting in American churches right now, honestly gave only 10% of their income back to God, we could add $85.5 billion to ministry around the world per year. That's enough to feed every child in Africa for life. Plus, God promises that He'll provide you with what you need and warns that we cannot serve two masters. We have to choose. Tithing is not about a dollar amount or spiritual trophies. It's about an attitude of humility, obedience, and generosity. God doesn't want our 10%. He wants us 100%. So go ahead. Pick your master.
Alrighty, at this time we're going to go ahead and take up our tithes and offerings. So if you guys will grab the black baskets at the end of the rows and pass them down. I know I personally in my life and in my ministry here at this church, I've been able to see the benefits of tithing, and not just of your money. And while that is important because we use it to reach the community around us and the families and the dark places in Boiling Springs, because you'd be surprised, there's a lot of them here. While that is important, I've seen the benefit of people tithing their time, especially in their effort and their creativity. And so, there's a lot more than just money when it comes to tithing. So I want to give you all a second to go ahead and pass those baskets. And if you are unable to give today, but you would like to, there's a couple other ways that you can give. There's a box on the back wall labeled offering, and you can put that in there at any time. You can also go to our website at lifespring03012020A and give that way, and you can set up automatic draft with your bank that way as well. At this time, we're going to go ahead and sing weekend, it really just hit me. I was at the beach last weekend, and I was standing before the waves, and that's one of my favorite things that I love to do. Because, I don't know about y'all, but whenever I'm at the beach, I just feel so small in comparison to, everything else around me. It's like God created this whole ocean, and just standing before it, seeing how intricate it is, just really calmed me down. So I was listening to this song, it came on the radio this mornings while I was driving to work, and it really just kind of centered me, thinking about what I had seen last weekend. And it says, like a tidal wave, his love crashes over us. And that kind of just was a great picture for me. If you focus on the waves and how big they are, especially during a storm, you can definitely understand how much more is God's love for us if that's just the tiny comparison he gives. So, I hope you guys will stand and sing with me. When every step I could prayer. We thank you that because of you sending your son that we can bless you in this way and we can praise you and we can ask things. And all we have to do is say amen. In your name, let it be so. And I just pray that that's not something we would take lightly, that we wouldn't forget that we have power through you and because of you and what you've done. And I just pray that you would continue to be in this place in this service and that you would continue to move and that you would just be with Pastor Nate as he brings the word, that you would just put him to the side and that you would speak through him. And that the people in this room and the people watching online would just get what they need, what you would have them to hear today, and that you would just please push us all aside and just help us to know that it's not about us, it's not about a Sunday service and a routine, it's about becoming closer with you. We thank you, we love you. Amen.
Or should we say amen? Kids, you are dismissed for our 1st through 8th grade classes, deep in Splash Zone. You guys go have a good time. And I know you just sat down, but look to someone around you, maybe the row behind you, and just say, hey. Hey. That's it. Just say, hey, man. We just want to welcome you and glad that you are here this morning. If you are a guest with us or if you have never filled out one of these welcome cards, one of these white cards, you'll find these in a seat around you. Be sure to do that. This is a great way for us as a church and staff to connect with you and to see what God has in store for you here at this church. God is doing a lot. I'll go ahead and warn you, I am very excited about a lot of things. Now, if you know me, you're like, shocker, Nate. You're always excited, but I'm especially excited today. So much so that I'll kind of give you a little glimpse of my week and some really cool things of what God's been doing and where he's been moving and how he's been working through different conferences and different things I've been a part of. But so much so that one of our sweet saints, Miss Margaret Beatty, who comes to our first service, she just grabbed me when I gave her a big hug, and she says, Nathan? Now, if I hear Nathan, I'm in trouble, right? I usually go by Nate. I hear it. She says, Nathan, I'm going to create a chair that's going to force you to sit down in it. It's going to force you to rest, and it's going to force you to slow down when you're talking so fast because you're so excited. I said, yeah. Apparently, first service, I preached a 45-minute sermon in 20 minutes. It was incredible. It was crazy. But let me tell you, I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. I have had a little bit of travel this last 9 days to where I just had an awesome opportunity to go to 3 different conferences. You can tell in the church world, apparently, like Myrtle Beach and the Sneeds Ferry area that I was in, all the hotels and resorts are at discounted rates in the winter because they're like, we're going to plan every one, like right here, back to back to back in the month of February. And so I want to share a little bit with you about where I've been because it's really going to lead us into where we're headed as a church and with this new series. The new series is called DNA, and it is the core of the local church. Man, I love the local church, and it's not just Lifespring. It's you. It's each and every one of you that have accepted Christ and made him your Savior. We are now the church. And here in our town, here in our area, and here's a part of Lifespring, we get a chance to connect with a lot of people. If you were here last week, I'll give you a cool example and a cool story. So I was gone, I was out of town. Brother Chuck brought the word. He did such a great job. He's standing right here. If I give him a hand, I'm just kidding, he's not even here. He's teaching Splash Zone today. But he did such an awesome job of bringing that word. But if you were here last week, you noticed we had some major technical difficulties, right? Our screens weren't working, our pro presenter wasn't working, all these things were happening. Well, Jacob, who is our youth leader, who is gone at a retreat right now as well, but he was at the retreat that I was leading and teaching and working with other adult youth leaders across North and South Carolina last weekend. And so me and him were both gone, and I'm at the local church there. We went to a local Church of God, and we're in the middle of service, and our phones are buzzing. Like, ooh, I'm like, oh gosh, something's not good. So we go outside, and it's one of those things, you ever faced a problem or an issue where you're like, you look at it and you're like, did you turn it off and back on? Yeah, that didn't work. That's all I got. You know, it's like, we're in trouble. Well, this year, we have taken on a slogan that we are better together. Amen? Do you agree with that? When we say we are better together, we mean not just here, not just in this place, but in churches across the state, and churches across North and South Carolina, and churches across this community. I want to take a moment. There's a pastor named Jonathan Weaver down the road at a church called Momentum, and the problem was so bad, and I didn't know what to do, and Jacob didn't know what to do, and even when he got back in town in between his trips, we couldn't figure it out. This pastor came on a Wednesday night after their Bible study, after their church, and spent over 2 hours on our computer figuring it out. Now, when he looks at a technical issue and can't fix it right away, we all in trouble, okay? And so sure enough, he looks at it, he says, man, I've never seen, in his words, it messed up this bad. He'd never seen whatever settings got changed, whatever, but was able to figure it out. Not only did he help our church out with that, but he went into the social media world and talked to other people about what to do about it. We are better together, amen? Amen. And so we want to continue that. So when we're talking about being the core of who we are, we're talking about the DNA of God and of Him inside of us. When I say we're the church, I'm not just talking about those of us here today. I'm not just talking about Lifespring. I'm talking about the church, capital C, God's people reaching as many souls for Christ as possible. And that is what we have a chance to be a part of. I mentioned these back-to-back retreats. I was able to be on the road and go to these things. It was really interesting. So last weekend, it was a time with youth leaders, adult leaders from North and South Carolina that I felt a call to youth ministry. I got to pour into them, and they got to pour into me, and we're just learning and doing our breakouts and growing in the Word and say, you know what? We pour into people. We pour into our students across the states, but man, how often do people pour into you as a youth pastor and as a youth leader? And it's just a weekend that we have to love on them and love on their families and go back refreshed and rejuvenated. We learn a lot, we laugh a lot, we pray a lot. It's just really cool. Well, that trip led into another conference Monday through Wednesday that was called a Ministers and Spouse Retreat. And so this was a little different demographic, a little different age. But I got to tell you, what got me so excited was the keynote speaker for that retreat, which is mostly senior pastors in the building, the keynote speaker for that said, I want to see every church represented here. There's about 60 pastors and associates there and families. He says, I want to see every church that's represented here go back and establish a win them, grow them culture in their church. Win them, grow them culture. I want to give you a little bit of a gauge of where we're at as a church right now. Man, we are seeing people's souls being won for Christ. We are seeing people get saved. We are seeing people get baptized. It's so incredible to see what God is doing in that. And God has now challenged me, especially this last week, on, okay, then what? How do we take our discipleship to another level? How do we train properly on how to reach up more people for Jesus and how to get them saved and how to bring them to the feet of Jesus so that we can go out and be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so that's what happened there. Then you fast forward, took a trip. I stayed on the East Coast and drove up to a place called Sneads Ferry, North Carolina. And this was a specific youth retreat. This was for the local youth group there. As a matter of fact, that's where our youth group is right now. They're a thing called Beach Retreat. And so we were able to take 10 students. Jacob and his team of volunteers that are so incredible. They took 10 of our students, and there was about 60 or 70 other local students that were going to be a part of this beach retreat. And I had the honor and I was able to speak at it yesterday morning. And I was like, hey, they changed their schedule a little bit so I could get back last night. I was like, I've been gone 9 days. That means two things. One, I miss my family. And two, I want to get back to my church, man. I was so excited to get back here. And so as we sing these songs we sang this morning, as we talk about being the DNA, the culture of the church, of who we are, I want to share with you some things that are happening. So yesterday morning, I had the opportunity to speak. And real late the night before, I'm laying in this room. I'm by myself. I'm trying to get some sleep. I'm excited to get home the next day. I'm excited to bring the word the next day. And God tells me, says, man, there's some students here that don't know me. And you need to present that gospel. And would you celebrate with me in the fact that after yesterday morning, with everybody's heads bowed and eyes closed, 3 students stood up to receive Christ for the very first time, which is so incredible and so awesome. I told you I'm excited. If I'm talking too fast, I apologize. But guess what happened next? There's a student that named Joey. Joey is just this really cool dude, man. He's a really special guy in our life of our church. He's one of Jacob, our youth leader's nephews. And he does not know the Lord. He partakes in some things he shouldn't be partaking in and has that kind of life. And when I was there already and the group got to Beach Retreat and I saw Joey get off that bus, I immediately was just like blown away. I was shocked that Joey was able to come on this trip. I was shocked he chose to come on this trip. You know, we provide ways for students to come, and we make it every way possible, but they still got to want to come. They still got to do it. They got to get on the bus. And I saw Joey get off the bus, and I was just like, no way, that's so awesome. God's going to do great things for him. I just knew it. Well, guess what? Joey gets wind Friday night that Pastor Nate is speaking and leaving. That I'm going to speak, and after that service, I'm going to get in the car and drive home. So guess what Joey realizes? That's my ticket home. That's my ticket out of here. He's like, he told me, he said, Nate, I don't like people. I don't care about these worship services. I just showed up because Uncle Jacob wanted me to come. I want to get out of here. I want to leave. I'm like, dude, it's beach retreat. He said, Nate, I want to leave. I want to go home. I don't want to be here. And I just thought, and I prayed, and me and Jacob talked, and we met about it, and I just said, Jacob, my heart's torn, man. Like, I hate that. And Jacob at first is like, if you don't want to be here, man, peace out. Just let him go. And I said, all right, I don't mind taking him back. But the more we thought, the more we prayed about it, I came up to Jacob yesterday, and I said, Jacob, there was only 80 spots for this trip, and he got one of those. There's other students around us. It's a retreat for local youth groups there in the Stevensbury area. We get to come from outside. I said, he took somebody's spot, man. He got to come. I said, maybe he should just stay, and maybe he should just be committed to coming and to staying and seeing this through. And Jacob's like, you know what, you're right. I said, but I tell you what, you've been praying about it, you've been thinking about it, it's your call, man. If you want him to go, I'll take him. If not, though, let's just tell him he's going to stay. And Jacob said, you know what, he's going to stay. I feel like that's what's best. It was really hard for me. You know how sometimes when you are the church, sometimes when you follow God's will, we're going to talk a lot about that today. It's going to be a very brief just setup for where we're headed this next month. But you know how like when you're in the church and you know what's best for somebody, but maybe they don't think that's what's best for them? You know that as a parent especially, or if you have people that you love and you see them struggling and hurting, you're like, hey, I know if you would do this, you're not